Hello, welcome to my channel Vadi's Tech Space. I'm Vadi, and in today's video we will learn about Front Door, a load balancer with layer 7 capabilities from Azure. Let's get started. Azure Front Door is a scalable and secure layer 7 load balancer designed for your web applications, APIs, and services. So it acts as a global entry point to your web applications and APIs. So it also provides you a single point of access for users no matter where they are located. So some of the key features of Frontdoor are that it distributes traffic efficiently across global backends for optimal performance. So when I say global backends, this which means that it can be anywhere. It can be on the same tenant subscription, different tenant, or different subscription, or it can be on premise, or it can be on some other cloud as well. So it is global. So that's why we say that it's efficient across global backends. So, and it also supports routing of traffic to backends via both IP address and fully qualified domain names here. And also it can direct traffic to the fastest or healthiest backend based on the latency or availability, improving the user performance by smart traffic routing. And it also has built-in protection against common vulnerabilities like SQL injection, XSS, and DDoS with web application firewall. And it also supports custom domains, and it is very easy to set up custom domains with automatic SSL for secure communication. So it distributes incoming traffic across multiple backends to ensure smooth performance and high availability. So let's go through some core components of Azure Front Door here. Let's take a bottom-up approach to understand the core components here. So let's start with the origin. So your backend service, that might be your web app or API or your storage account. So any of the services supported by Front Door that receives traffic routed by the Azure Front Door. So your backend endpoint is your origin, and a collection of origins, allowing load balancer and failover between multiple backends or origin groups. So you can have more than one origin and you can club them in the origin group. And this is where the load balancing and configuration happens. And then comes the route here. So you can define how much traffic is directed from a domain to a specific origin group based on URL paths or custom rules. So you can set that in the route. Now, domain, you can add a custom domain and assign it to a specific route for traffic management, and through which user can access your application via the front door. So that domain setup and all can be done here. So finally, you can do all this using Azure Front Door Manager. So this interface in Azure will provide you configuration, will allow you to configure, manage Azure Front Door settings, routes, origin groups, and security policies. So to summarize, you have an origin, and origin is your backend endpoint. Then you can have more than one origin and you can group them in origin group. And then you create a route, and the route you map it to the origin group. Then you have a domain, you create a domain, and you assign a domain to the route. And all this is done from your front door manager. Let's go to the Azure portal now and create the Azure front door resource. So I am in Azure portal now. Let's go ahead and create Azure Front Door. Please note that you cannot create Azure Front Door using your free trial as on October end 2024. And even if you have pay as you go subscription, you got to make sure that you have this resource provider, CDN resource provider enabled here. So you got to check this. So Microsoft.cdn needs to be enabled, registered here. So now I go back, I click on create new resource, and I'm going to say front door. Okay. Uh, I'm going to click on create. Here I'm going to click Azure front door, and I'm going to say quick create. Continue to create a front door. Okay. I have a resource group called Front Door in East US. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to say FD demo. All right, front door demo. Standard, you have two tiers. One is standard, another is premium. With the premium, you can enable private links and also the number of origins and the origin groups you can create and the number of routes you can create. Sorry, changes based on the tier you select. So I'm going to say if my endpoint also starts with FD demo here. So this will be my endpoint host name. And origin type. You need to, like any other load balancer in Azure, while creating the resource, you need to have at least one origin created here. So origin type I'm going to have is a storage classic website, and the host name would be, I have a host name. I have created a sample static website on the storage with a index.html greeting us with a hello. Okay, so I'm selecting that here. We can remove that. We will remove that and start afresh when we go into front door. Now you can enable caching here. It beautifully caches. Um, However, you got to be careful on what you need to cache, and of course, you have an option to purge the cache as well. So, WAF, I don't want to create anything now. I click on next. I'm going to click on next and review. I want to click create here. Okay. So, while this gets created, let's go to the uh, storage account here. Okay, and I will show you the static website. Okay, configuration. Let's take the URL here. Sorry, not here. Static website. Okay, I'm going to take this and let me show you what I have here. Okay, in this I have hello from storage website in East US region. All right, this is a message I get when I access this site. So now this guy is getting created. Let's give it a time. Also, I want to let you know that I have what I'll be using here is the backend, the origin will be a site hosted in some other tenant, not in the same tenant. It's in the some in another tenant. I have a virtual machine. In that virtual machine, I have two sites hosted. Okay, so let me take you to the UK branch. So here, right, when I access this, I'm going to show you. Hold on, I have this server here. Let me remote in and show you this. Okay. I am in the remote machine, on the VM where I have hosted the sites. This is in an UK region in a different tenant, different subscription. So this I'm going to add it, configure it as a origin in our front door example. So now in this VM, I have created two sites here. Okay, if you see the bindings, I have a HTTP and the host name I have set it as site1.easyskillsub.in. Likewise, I have another website where I have the host name as site2.easyskillshub.in. Okay, the page is nothing, it's just a small index.html which greets us with a hello. All right, so now let's go back to the front door resource. It got created. I'm going to click on go to resource. All right, this is my front door. This is how it looks. This is my in the essentials. It shows the usual details like tar, IDs, status, location. Front door is a global resource, so you can see it as global. Now, I settings is the area where you're going to spend more time. And in the settings, you recollect our PPT where I was saying front door manager. This is where you can uh, do all the things like creating the routes, origin groups, origins, etc. So now This default route got created for us. If you recollect, while creating the front door, it asked me for a origin. It needs something to get created, right? So the storage account which I showed here, all right, the storage account where I have a default page, that storage account static website I selected and it created this route. Let's understand this route here. Okay, first, like bottoms up, right? I'm going to go to the uh, origin. Okay, will come from the bottom here. Now, here the origin type is my storage static website. If you could recollect, that's what I selected. And then the host name is my endpoint here. Okay, and also origin host header. The host header is also the same as your host name. It's not always, but in this case it is. So Microsoft recommends that we enable this validation where the host name matches the host name in the certificate of your hosted site's origin SSL. Okay, so the host name which is sent here should match the certificate host name. Only then the traffic will be routed, else it's going to give an error. Okay, so that's why you enable this validation. Now, here, now the HTTP port is 80, of course, and port 443. The priority, if you have more than one origins, you can set the priorities here. We have only one, so I'm going to set one. Wait is how much traffic you want to send. Like for example, if I have two origins and I set 70 and 30, that means for one origin, 70% of the traffic will be routed and the remaining 30 will be routed to some other origin. So, and also this one needs to be ticked. That's when it enables the origin. So this origin has been created. Now, this is your origin group. So right now you have only one origin, but you can have more than one origins if you want to load balance. Okay. Now, if you want a session affinity, you can check this. Health probes. Okay. So it enables you to do a health probes wherein it checks for the URL on a given protocol and then on a given frequency and determines whether the origin is healthy or not. All right. And also the load balancing here, right now it doesn't matter because there is only one origin here. But if you have more than one origin, then it is important that you set this load balancing parameters here. See, unlike other load balancers like traffic manager, where region specific, geographical region specific, you can route, here everything is based on the latency. For all you know, a guy might be in US, but when he's accessing the site from the UK, is much faster than the US itself. So the guy goes to the US, the UK origin is returned back because it is faster. So that is how internally the front door works. So this is the origin group, and then comes the route here, right? So when I go to the route, the default route which got created, I click on the default route here. In the route, the name is a default route, and then this is the endpoint. You create multiple routes in an endpoint, and this is the endpoint which we have, and you have to configure a domain, attach a domain to the route. Now we have whatever the available domain, the default domain which got created, we have assigned. If you want to create a custom domain, you can create a custom domain and you can assign it. We will show you how to do that. I will show you that in this demo. Now the patterns to match, this is where your layer 7 capabilities come into picture, right? So right now I'm saying that it is all everything. It means if whatever, no matter whatever comes from this route, you push it to a particular origin group. But tomorrow, if you have a requirement where only, like for example, slash products will go to one origin and slash orders will go to a different origin, in that case, you can go ahead and add it here. Now, the accepted protocol are both HTTP and HTTPS. I can go ahead and change it now. I want only HTTPS here. Okay, you redirect all the so no matter what you select, you redirect always redirect the traffic to the HTTPS is also something which you can set. Now comes the origin group. I have a route, I selected a domain, okay, and then I added my patterns, if any, if not it's star. Then I need to say that this route will go to which origin. So directly origin you cannot add because of the additional features like load balancing which is provided. So it will ask for a origin group. So here I have a default origin group created. Just now I showed you the origin group in which I have a storage origin created. Now I select that default origin group, and then what is the forwarding protocol? So in the forwarding protocol, see, you can always receive in HTTPS, offload your TLS, and then you can forward it as HTTP or HTTPS. So if you want to maintain a zero trust thing, it's always better to forward it in HTTPS only. So in this case, what happens is that you get a the the route gets a request to the front door. Front door offloads the SSL, and then it applies the rules if you have set any rules, and then it re-encrypts with the SSL and send it to the destination, which is your origin endpoint. Okay, here I can do a HTTP or HTTPS, or I can match whatever the request I got. If it is HTTPS from there, it is going to forward protocol will match that. Okay, and now you can enable caching. Do you want to enable caching on this route? Yes, you can do that here by checking that. And if you have any rule sets, you can apply the rule sets. See, these rule sets, what happens is that if you want to for example, I'm going to give you an example of a rule set. In a rule set, you want to add few HTTP headers, or you want to override few HTTP headers. Whether it is a request or request headers or response headers, or if you want to URL paths you want to rewrite. All these things rules you can set up. There is a different menu item called rule set. From there you create a rule set and you assign it to the route here. These can be done. So now once all this is done, you go ahead and create. I don't want to update it now because this is already created. Now for us to access this site, a route, I'm going to go and take this endpoint, and I'm going to enter here. Okay. So if you see, this is the storage website from East. This is nothing but your storage account here. So now this is hosted on front door. All right. Now what we are going to do is that we are going to go ahead and create a new origin group, route, and test it. In the front door manager, let me go ahead and click a new endpoint, uh, just to show you how, just to show it from the start. I'm going to say, uh, my sites, and I'm going to click on add. Okay. Now, once this is added, while this is getting added, what we can do is that we can go ahead and add few custom domains to this in the Azure front door. So let's go ahead. I'm going to click on add. I am going to say this is how you can, right? You come to the domains and here you click on add. So here you would say non-Azure validated, yes. All other AZ, I would say um, custom domain is site1.azskillshub.in is what I'm going to say. And see here, right, you can create your own, if you have your own certificates, you can add these certificates as secrets in Key Vault, and you can import in the front door secrets these certificates. And once you import these certificates, what you can do is that if you click on in the site name, if you click on bring your own certificate, if that matches, then that SSL certificates will be listed here. Now, I will stick with the AFD because I don't have a certificate here. And I'm going to say click on add here. So this will be my custom domain. So now what happens, what we should do is that this guy creates, Azure creates the SSL and then it gives us the TXT validation. So we need to take that and go to the your domain provider and update your DNS with this TXT. Once this is created, that's what we are going to do. While the domain is getting created, let's go to the Azure Front Door Manager and we see that our new endpoint is created. All right. So I'm going to click, I go to the origin groups here. Let's take the bottom up approach. I'm going to click on add, click on origin here. I'm going to say my site and I'm going to select the origin type as custom uh, because I need to give the IP of the VM here. So my virtual machine IP is this UK branch IP and my okay, there's a problem here. Now my host header, right? My host header, I can remove this and see, once we have a domain, I cannot remove that here. I need to have site one. I need to have site one dot AC skills hub dot in here. Okay, so I don't need enable validation because if you see uh, here we have sorry, in the VM, right, we have site one dot AC skills hub dot in as a host. So I need to have this here. 80 is fine. I'll keep it as 443, but there is nothing on 443. So I'll enable the origin. I click on add here. Now here I say my sites origin group. Rest all I'm going to leave it as is and click on add. So what we have done, we have uh, created uh, origin group. Now let's wait for this to get created. The origin group has created here. Okay, so now I will go to the front door manager here. Okay, in this here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on add route. So in the add route, I'm going to say my sites route. Okay, and I have this domain available. So I'm going to select that. Path is this. Accepted protocol is only HTTPS. Origin group, I have my site's origin group. And the forwarding protocol is HTTP. I'm going to click on add. Now, let's wait for this to get added. The route has been added now. As you see, you have the route created HTTPS, my site's origin group, HTTP. All good. Provisioning status succeeded. Now, if I take this, copy this endpoint and say now I'm getting like and the regions, UK region site one. Okay. So this is coming from here. Okay. So now what we are going to do is that we are going to domain a domain. It will take some time. I think I added this. What happens is that when you click on pending, you have this txt record type, and you need to go to your domain provider and you need to add it here as a txt record to get validated. But again, this is taking some time, so I'm going to skip this part. But this is what happens, right? Once you create a domain here, what you can do is that you can go to the front door manager You can create another route in an existing endpoint itself. And what you can do is that in this case, right, site one I'm creating in the route, what you can do is that the domain which is added, I can select the site1.azskillsup.in. Now I can associate this. But as the validation is pending and the record which I've added in my DNS will take some time to get reflected, I cannot do that. It's not going to work. So otherwise you can do that. In this case, you don't need to create a new endpoint. Also, you can create in an existing route. So based on the domain, it gets redirected. Now this is how you add your sites to front door manager, into the front door. Now let's revise what we have done here. So here what we have done is that we have created an origin and we added that origin in the origin group, and the origin group has been, I created a new endpoint, and in that endpoint I created a route, and in the route I have associated the origin group. So now whatever request come to that endpoint will go to the route, and from the route it goes to the origin group, and from the origin group it will go to the origin, which is our ultimate endpoint. Now let me show you how load balancing is done and failovers are done here. Okay, load balancing, it's difficult to mimic because I'm the only one here accessing. So I can show you the failover. So if what I'm going to do is that in this origin group, I'm going to add a new origin. I have another server here. Okay, I have another server which is in the Australian region here, Australia East, and in this machine also 20.188. In this machine also I have created site1.azskillshub.in. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take this IP here. All right, I'm going to go and add a new origin here. I'm going to say origin is my site Australia. Origin type again here is custom. I'm going to say host name is this, but the host header should be azskillshub.in. That's how it is configured in IIS. Don't enable the validation 8080. So here I'm going to give 50. Wait, and I'm going to click on add. Now I'm going to click on the UK region. I'm going to say 50 here as well, so that 50-50 the weightage, traffic will be evenly distributed and everything will remain the same. I'm going to click on update now. Now I will wait for this to get updated. Okay, my origin has updated now, and if I go here in my origin group, I can see two origins here, one from UK and Australia. Now I'm going to go to the front door manager and take my endpoint here. All right, and I have created a route, as you know. I'm going to go here. I'm going to say, okay, UK region. Okay, it's difficult to get Australian region. What we can do now is that as a failover, testing the failover, I'm going to go to the UK region, my UK branch region, and I'm going to stop this and see what happens. Okay, now I'm going to stop this. The IIS has been stopped here. Okay, so let's wait and see. Now, if you see when I refreshed, it came from the Australian region because my origin group has two sites here. All right. So now everything is going to the Australian region. So this is how the failover is done, and you once it is up again, then the load balancing will kick in and it will balance out the request accordingly based on the settings which you have set. Okay. So again, I got a UK region now because the latency, this is faster than UK region side is faster than Australia in this case from the US, from where the front door is installed. Now this is how we add sites and configure the load balancing, failovers, and endpoints and routes in Azure Front Door Manager. Now, finally, I want to show you that this provision, this validation state has been approved. It has been sometime, some half an hour. So this is approved now. Okay. Now what we can do is that I cannot get this running for the reason is that I need to make few more changes in the DNS, but I'm going to show you, and that will work, but it will take time, and but it will work. Okay. So now what we are going to do is that I'm going to, now that this validation state is approved, I go to the front door manager. Okay. I will go to my route here, my sites. Okay. I'm going to click on the route. In the route, you remember we have domains here. So these domains, I can go ahead and I can select the domain. Okay. Now I can go ahead and select the domain, and the rest will remain as is. And I'm going to click on update here. So now if you recollect, while this is getting updated, let me go back to the domains here. So the association, right? The association, endpoint association is being done here. All right. So now once the endpoint is associated, it asks you to update the CNAME in your DNS entry. All right. So now while this is happening, okay, we'll wait for this to complete. And what will happen is that I need to go to the domain here. Okay. I want to go to the domain. Let me first click on the front door manager. Okay. And take this endpoint. So the route is updated now. So the endpoint, right? This is where my sites are there. I'm going to take this endpoint. I'm going to go to my GoDaddy here. I'm going to click on add new DNS, and I'm going to choose the DNS name. And the name is site1, of course. And the value will be my endpoint. And I'll click on save. So once this, while this is being done, let me show you this. Okay. So the DNS state, it's saying that, it's not there, but very quickly this should get validated. That should not be a problem. But the traffic to get routed through that, it will take some time. Okay. So now once this is done, right? Once this is done, now cname dot net. All right. Once this is done, what will happen is that we can access the site. Traffic is ready to deliver securely now. Before we try that, traffic is ready to deliver, we'll go to the front door, and one, as you know, we have added the sites here, added the domain, we associated the domain here. Now you can see under the routes there are two domains, so I can access it using the endpoint here like this. Okay. Or I can access it using the newly created domain, right? And I'm going to say site1.azskillset.com. See. So now we are able to access it over the site1.azskillset.com. So this way you can create your domain and you can associate it to the endpoints. So now here, if you want to summarize, we created a origin, we created multiple origins here. Okay, in this origin group, you have multiple origins, okay, with the same site hosted. And then what we did was we created a new endpoint and added, you don't need to create a new endpoint here. Within the route, you can go ahead and create, but I wanted to show you how to create a new endpoint. So in the new endpoint, I went ahead and added this group. We created a route, okay. In the new endpoint, we created a route, all right. In the route, we selected the origin group. We selected the domain. We'll come to the domain. And then the origin group has been selected. And we're saying that okay, it accepts only HTTPS protocol, but you forward it on a HTTP is what we said, and and we added a domain. Okay, and while adding the domain, first we created a new domain and we said that go ahead and give me a Azure Front Door managed certificate. And then we validated the domain by adding the TXT record. And finally, once that is done, once the endpoint is associated, we took that endpoint and added a CNAME record in the DNS entry. With by doing all this, I'm able to access the site and using the domain name. And we also tested the failovers here. Okay, so you can try it out. And if you found this video helpful, give it a like and consider subscribing. Until next time, take care and thank you for watching.